My name is Edna Mwale Simbai. I'm the Public Relations Officer for the Tropical Diseases Research Center, which is located on the 60th and 7th floor of the Ndola Teaching Hospital here in Ndola. And we're here at the Tradefair this year, and we are exhibiting basically two things in two disease research areas that we are involved in, and this is malaria and the COVID-19. Well, maybe before I go further, let me just explain a little bit what Tdrc is and what it does. Tdrc is it's a health research institution. We are basically a research wing of the Ministry of Health. So we carry out a number of research activities in line with the strategic plan for the Ministry of Health. And once we do that research, we recommend interventions of various diseases depending on the findings to the Ministry of Health. So these diseases and conditions range from malaria, HIV, now COVID, nutritional disorders, and so forth. But one of the goals or one of our objectives is to develop and evaluate prevention and control methods of various diseases. And so today, at this year's Trade Fair, we are here to exhibit what we have done in malaria control. And when you talk of malaria control, one of the components of malaria control prevention is vector control, like the mosquitoes. How do we control the mosquitoes that transmit malaria? So in line with our theme, if you look at our theme, the interpretation of our theme is health research, key to value addition for health services. So we are saying we are here to tell the nation that our role in malaria control, in vector control specifically, has to do with our involvement in evaluating insecticides that kill mosquitoes. So we are involved in evaluating these insecticides from the time that we started with the much earlier one, which is DDT. So we evaluate it and see if it is still effective, and if it's not, we try to evaluate other new ones that are coming on board, and then we recommend which one is more effective. Currently, the one that we are using in the malaria indoor residue spraying program, it's an insecticide called Ndola, which we evaluated as Tdrc, and we were able to see that it was performing better than the other insecticides, and so that was recommended to the Ministry of Health, and policy had to change to a new insecticide. So in line with the theme, we're adding value into malaria control, and adding value to the malaria control, also just to ensure that also helps in the provision of health services. And then the other exhibition the other area we are exhibiting is the area of the COVID-19. I'm sure we all have heard, we all have known the impact, the devastation that COVID has brought on the country generally, economically, health-wise, socially. It just turned the world upside down, actually. So what is our role? And in line with the interpretation, what you are seeing here is we are depicting the human cell and how it's affected by the different variants of COVID. So you can see that there are different there are different variants here. There's the Omicron, there's the Delta, and the others there. So what we are doing, in line with the theme, as in adding value to the COVID-19 response, is that we have begun to what we call sequencing. And sequencing is a method where we are able to identify the different types of variants that are coming into the country. So from that sequencing, we are able to know which variant we are dealing with, and the effects it has on the people when they are infected with it. So then when you know that, you're able to plan what kind of treatment, what kind of medical equipment you need to have, because you know the type of variant you're having and also the effects it has on a patient. So in that way, we are saying our role as Tdrc and also our interpretation in line with the COVID-19 is that we are doing the sequencing and we are able to inform the Ministry of Health the type of variants, COVID variants that are coming on, the new COVID variants that are coming on board, and how we can come up with interventions that are related to the particular variant.
My name is Kawengele Siame. I'm a scientific officer at Tropical Diseases Research Center in charge of genomic sequencing. Genomic sequencing is one of the new tools which has come into the country, and with a lot of value addition being done in terms of disease research and interventions. Looking at COVID, for example, we are now able to extract DNA from COVID material and be able to determine what variants we have. Why do we need to determine the variant? Why do you need to determine the variants? This information is very important in the sense that it gives us extra information to determine whether the current testing methods which we are utilizing in the country are suitable to the variants which are circulating in the country. Things like the Delta and the Omicron. Additionally, it also helps us to evaluate the effectiveness of the different vaccines which we're having in the country, and that sort of a thing. With support from the Ministry of Health and the Center for Disease Control, Tdrc now has the state-of-art machinery to carry out this genomic sequencing. These activities typically would need to be sent out of the country to determine this information, but we now have that capability to carry out all manner of genomic sequencing to be used in disease identification, disease monitoring, what interventions to take, even new drug targets, and so on and so forth. And this is not just for COVID, but for other diseases like malaria, tuberculosis, and the like. So this is now what we can do at Tdrc. We can do all the bioinformatics, all the analysis of, and it really is the first of its kind in the country, especially towards the major diseases which we have, like tuberculosis and HIV. So I think the main thing over here is that we are capable of doing all of these things in country, and I think it's a more sustainable method of utilizing the health resources.
Okay, so we are here at the NEMA stand. As Tdrc, we have partnered with NEMA at this year's Zambia International Trade Fair. We are offering a number of services. Basically, we are doing triage, where we are doing medical checkups for blood pressure, malaria, COVID, and sugar, and other checkups. So we doing services that we offer at our Tdrc clinic. We have a clinic on the 60th floor of Ndola Teaching Hospital, which is open to the public, and we are now NEMA accredited. The reason why we are exhibiting at the NEMA stand is because both our laboratories and our clinic are NEMA accredited, and we have a full-fledged clinic that offers a number of medical services, some of which we are offering at this stand today.